had a big bay window. And I would stand in front of the bay window and I could see people down the block this way, down the block that way. And these people were walking towards my house, and these people were walking away from my house. It was like these people were the future. I was going to see them right in front of my house in maybe 20 seconds. And these people had already been there, and they're the past. I'm not going to see them again. So there was like a window of time. But when I was living in Buffalo in a little apartment, when I was going to school there, I had a window that was like 8 inches wide, and if somebody passed in front of it, I couldn't even tell it was a person. All of a sudden the window would turn yellow, probably because somebody was wearing a yellow raincoat. I would just see whoosh, yellow and then no yellow. Or I would see a couple of stripes and then no stripes, because the window was very narrow. So there'd be no past, there'd be no future, the way I could see it through my bay window in Rosedale. I would stand in front of the bay window and I thought, wow, this is a window where there's a little throw of time. Or maybe I'm in the moment and I'm seeing the moment, but I can see into the past and into the future in relation to who's in front of my house. That's the kind of moment I want, not the kind of moment that disappears. But I would give them another example of somebody being just really in the moment and say, is this the kind of moment you want? There's a guy named Clive Wearing. He was a very well-known, very well-liked British composer, conductor, pianist, musicologist, very talented musical guy. 1985, he comes down with a certain kind of encephalitis that infected his brain and ate away most of his hippocampus, which is where your memories are stored and where new ones are formed. And over a short period of time, his hippocampus was just about gone, literally eaten away by the virus. Couldn't remember his past. If somebody put a cup of water in front of him, he would know it was a cup of water, but he had no idea how it got there. His memory was maybe 5 minutes long, sometimes not even that. Couldn't remember anybody or anything from his past, but he kept all his musical abilities. That was in a different brain organ. So he could play a piece of music, but he had no idea how he got to the piano or why he was at the piano. He didn't remember anybody except his wife, who he loved really dearly. Now, on the positive side of being in the moment, every time he saw his wife, he was overcome with love, as if it were the first time he saw her, because it was, as far as he knew, the first time he saw her. And he would say, "Oh, my dear, I'm so glad to see you. I've been in the middle of a void, like a coma, with nothing. I've been in nothing, nothing, nothing," because he didn't know where he was or why he was, and so each time he saw her, it was the first time. She would go to the bathroom, she'd leave his hospital room and come back. When she came back after a minute or less, "Oh, my dear, I'm so glad to see you. I haven't seen you in..." Now, that's the way I would like to be with my wife too. I've been married for 53 years, plus she was my girlfriend for a few years before that, plus we grew up together in New York City. So we were friends before we were girlfriends, so I still love her, but not like that, like, "Oh, my dear," not overcome with love, the way Clive was overcome with love. So from one point of view, I would love to have that relationship to my wife. I would love to have that relationship to the Appassionata Sonata of Beethoven, like as if I never heard it. And how amazing to listen to this music or experience this food, or as if it was the first time you ever had Cantonese chow mein, or, this is an amazing dish. The power of the impression of that food, or of that person, or of that anything. I would love to live a life where the moment was so energized that it just brought forth so much love and appreciation. But would I pay for it by having no past, by just having that little slice of the moment? but having no relationship to my wife, because we don't have a relationship. I mean, Clive, we don't have a past, so I don't know anything about her preferences. I don't know what food she likes to eat. I don't know what clothing she likes to wear. I could never buy a present for her because I don't know her really, except that I love her, and when she appears in front of me, it's overwhelming love. So what I pay for memory, what I pay for having a view of my life that had a bit of a bay window type panorama, would I be willing to pay for that by being locked into this moment? Probably not.
That's a pretty deep thing to say, a heavy thing to say to someone who's just trying to take a course.
Well, only if nothing else I said didn't persuade them that being in the moment has its drawbacks. You could be so much in the moment. For example, the typical free improviser, I could name a bunch of them, is really in the moment when they play. Wonderful. You know, what did you just play 20 seconds ago? Is there any thematic connection? Is there any rhythmic? Is there any connection? Why are you still playing? Are you developing something? Or are you just flailing away at the piano? I don't really care, but sometimes I hear that there's no connection. You're just simply now. And now has become very popular. A lot of people conflate being in the now with not having a view to a larger breadth of time. And it's hard to just be in the now, and actually compose a piece of music, because you have to remember what you did a minute ago.